All right. We are live. It looks like we are live. Yes. All right. In the house. I am going to be visited in just a few minutes with my good friend Scott Vogel. We've been together almost all day already, and we are ready to go, raring to go. It just never stops. This is the best part about
I
doing
am.
something that you love. And there he is on the other side. Turn that volume down, buddy. Glad for you to be here. Thank you for being here live. Thank you for being here on the replays. If you are here, let us know. I see somebody already on the Facebooks. Don't know who you are because you have to give us permission to broadcast your name just by clicking the link wherever you're watching on Facebook to allow StreamYard for me to see who you are. All right. So that is how we do it. There is my good friend Scott Vogel. Man, I love the magic when we bring you in.
It is magic today, Joey. I'm so honored always to be in the space with you and Tuesday evenings, but we got a double bonus. It's like when I get to see my son, like an extra time during the week, we call it bonus time. And we had a bonus time today because you joined me with my tribe today. And we did the GAN story method where you and I were putting together an umbo, basically. We talked about, let's do this thing and we'll edit them live.
Yeah.
And so we kind of threw this together Saturday when I was really sick. And we put it together and people submitted their content. They did a great job. And we went and we edited them. And you had just come off your Atlas call and
Yeah.
literally got off the call, jumped into mine, and we went and did them. And we did 3 of them. And then a 4th one we did on the fly.
Right.
I wrote it, and as I was writing it, you came behind it. But it was great because, like you said, we've been together for probably a couple hours. We'll be together 5 hours today, and we don't tire of each other. So that's a good thing.
It is. It is a good thing. You know, it's kind of cool watching that whole thing develop like live in the Google Doc, and and it's really cool to watch it from, I guess, the person's perspective, because they gave us some really good feedback on how they watched us work and our brains work, because we were, similar, but also differently the way we were looking at the copy. But that was really cool, even from my perspective of looking at us do it in that way live in front of people. So it was really cool. So thank you for allowing me to jump in and serve your tribe. They're awesome people. I love that.
Well, it's going to be something because that story, the GAN story method, is so powerful in attracting dream clients, because we took 4 of my peeps today and gave them a way to get their message out to attract dream clients that's going to work.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, we're going to write a whole bunch of copy and we're going to spend days writing a sales letter. We spent 15, maybe 20 minutes because we were really going at it.
Yeah.
And the results were incredible, and they were thrilled and ecstatic. And then we went over it again and again, and then I read it, and then we fixed it, and it's such an important piece. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's so valuable. And as you know, now I'm having them turn them into videos. And I'm having one of our designers, Andrea, she's going to create a scene that makes it easy for somebody to just plug in their text and some images. And they've got this whole story that they can put anywhere.
Yeah. So it's a double whammy for them. It's awesome, and you can use it anywhere. I love that too. Yeah. And thank you for being here, Monica. We see you, and great to see you. Petra is asking about the dinner. I've got a special treat for you, Petra, in 1 second. And Anne, fear of missing out. Don't worry. There's lots more to come. You're not missing out on anything. But I wanted to share this with you. I just jumped on the call with Scott in the green room or the blue room like 10 minutes ago, and it's because we got a brand new pizza oven, like a wood burning oven. And look at this. I just got my first pizza.
Oh,
right.
God.
Yeah. My wife just made this for me. So as Petra is asking what dinner is all about, that's what it is today, baby. Look at that.
Wow.
Fresh off the pizza oven today. And I was dying to try it. So that gets down there. Oh my gosh. So that's it. I just wanted to show off and thank my wife Donna for doing it. She's just amazing, amazing. Anyway, let's get to the conversation at hand. Oh my, this is torture to see it, not get it. I know, right? Look at how thick that thing is. Look at that. Okay.
Was that from scratch, Joey?
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look at that.
You are a lucky man.
Dude, man. Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, I can go on and on and on about how great my wife, great cook she is, and always from scratch. It's amazing. So yeah, very, very cool. Which is kind of cool. Look at all the tortures. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe turn off my camera while I enjoy it and let Scott talk.
That's more comments than we've had in 73 weeks.
Yeah, it's just this is what we got to do is got to bring Donna's food on, and then it'll go viral, right? So
there you go.
Now we know the secret to how to go viral on Facebook. Give her some love. Give her some love hearts. If you hear, give my wife some love hearts for this amazing food.
Monica nailed it, Joey. She said dinner with the boys. So
she did. She did. So here's what we're gonna do. So I was gonna lead into the topic tonight, which is big promise marketing, and because we were doing the GANS method today, I didn't see any big promise marketing in that whatsoever. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like, what are your thoughts around that? And you saw my live this morning. I don't know how much of it you saw, how much I was ranting and raving this morning about the big promise thingy. How much of it did you see?
I only saw a few minutes.
Okay. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about here? I'm sure you are, right?
Well, I am. Why don't you sum it up for us, since you were 42 minutes late today to my call?
So I look at big promise marketing as big promises, overpromise, promising the world, because it's the only thing that the person can really do to try and get customers, clients, sales, whatever, right? And it's just focusing only on that thing. Make $20,000 in 7 days, like, from scratch, from doing nothing. That's what I'm talking about. And it's like, okay, that's one part of it, but then it's the other part is that when you are competing on price like that, you're commoditized. And if it's the only thing that you can do is by trying to make bigger and faster and all these big promises, some other dude's going to come along and do it faster, better, slower, lower pricing, whatever, right? So it's not that you never mention the stuff, but if it's the only thing that you have, I think there's a problem there. That's what I'm talking about. Your thoughts?
I agree with you 100%. The big promise, and a lot of copywriters, they want you to focus on what is the big promise.
Right.
And the challenge is with the big promise, the bigger the promise, as Ann said, the BS meter goes off immediately. When you go out and say to somebody, like you said, you can make this much money, and look at my PayPal account, look at my bank account, look at all these checks that came into me, and I'm going to show you how to do this in 7 days, and you're going to make all this and have this boat full of booty for women and wheelbarrows full of cash, and they're throwing cash around in cars. Then it's like, okay, that's when the big promise, the BS meter goes off. And the big promise, unfortunately, the bigger the promise, the higher the lift.
Right.
And you've got to spend so much time, because the viewer, the prospect, is going to say, prove it. When we do what we do, you don't have to prove anything. And what you prove is, look, here's how this works. And you're not going to get rich overnight. And those of us that get out there and say, look, like I know you with Atlas and with your programs, you're like, no, you're not going to write copy tonight. You're not going to become a high-paid copywriter next week. What you're going to do is you're going to figure out and learn what your dream client's conversation is, and you'll be able to write your copy so that the stuff makes sense. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get rich in the next week or two. What you're going to do is you're going to learn how to build a business that will sustain and last for a long time. And if you want the big promise and the big payday and the big payoff, that's out there, you're going to end up spending your money. We've all done it. I've fallen prey to that whole trap of, oh my God, look, he makes it look so easy. And they're so good.
Yeah.
The NLP-esque webinar value stacks, and you're like, oh, I've got to have this thing for a lot of money. And you get it and you start going through it, and it's too difficult. It's too big of a mountain to climb. There's too much. And you give up. And then, of course, they say, well, show me the work. I think I shared with you, I won't mention the guy's name because I won't. And he had this whole thing that this and the promise, and if you didn't get the results. And I said, at the end of it, I was like, not only did I study this, I paid my project manager to study it. It was a whole social media thing years back. And at the end of the day, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot into it. And I went and said, I'd like my money back. And the guy came back and was like, I'm not going to give you your money back. I was like, you made this promise. I did everything. Well, how about if I give you one of my other programs? I'm like, I don't want another one of your programs. And so I've never interacted with that individual again. He lost me as a buyer who would have spent a lot more money. Again, it's that lifetime value. And if you try and make that big promise up front and get the big payoff, then I don't see it making sense.
But that's what got you into that program in that context, was that big promise. And then you're like, okay, well, if that's what I'm going to get, then that's a big expectation,
right,
and you didn't get it. And then it's like, well, too bad, I'm not giving you your money back. And so that was his only method of getting a sale. Right. So I'm not saying that never make, I don't know, a claim or whatever that is. We can get into all those levels of degrees of claims. And what really sparked this today was the conversation. I had another chat, and I have chats like almost all the time. And, me, and I like to get into conversations and try to have human connections, which is what I think Ann just said it. Yeah. Organic marketing or whatever is relationship building. That's truly what it is. It's not another gimmick. It's not another, oh, let's call it organic marketing now, right? But that's what the world is doing now because of the whole Facebook thingy, the whole iOS blocking, blah, blah, blah. So let's call it something different now. Let's do this thing. And I'm making a prediction right here and now, June 22nd, 2021. Then in a couple of months, we're going to see some marketers and then a whole bunch of marketers come out and say, I finally cracked the Facebook code. We're back again, and I can get you zero leads and all this. So I'm making that prediction right now, okay? But right now, the big buzzword is organic marketing. And I'm telling you, it's so funny because almost every day I get somebody who will, right, get into the whole script thingy. I know where they're going. And the first thing they'll say, because I ask them, how's it going? What's going on with your business? The first thing they'll say is, so are you doing ads? Like, are you using Facebook ads for your business? Knowing that most people are, or whatever, or have some kind of degree to it, and to try and steer me into, well, you don't have to do it that way. Anyway, the conversation went a different way. And I asked a couple questions like, how are you doing? Or what are you doing, this and that? And they answered. But here's where it really changes for me is, even though I asked you about your business, let's say I asked you, Scott, and I said, well, great, you're a coach. Like, how long have you been coaching? The answer comes back, well, I've been coaching for 2 years, and actually my clients are now getting results in $20,000 in 7 days. Like, dude, like, just answer the first part of the question. You don't need to go into the pitch, right? That's what I'm talking about when you're going into the big promise thingy, and it's like a lead. You don't need to lead with that. You don't need to tell me this kind of stuff. Let's have a conversation. But now I know all you're concerned about is trying to get my attention to say, oh, wow, I'd love to make $20,000 in 7 days too. How do you do that? That's what they're waiting for, and it just pisses me off.
There's a couple of big comments in here before we move too far along. Let's
go with Ann's first.
Yeah. I've been asked to add a time frame to my offers and haven't done it because I can't make that kind of guarantee. The person has to do the work, and even then, there are factors that can't be controlled. Excellent.
Next one.
The same can be said about holding back in what to share when helping, right? There's no secrets in my book, only the task of helping. However, some big promise coaches talk about holding back until you charge. What is that? I like both of those, and I'm glad that you don't put a time frame to your offer, because anytime we put a time frame on the result, you can't. Everybody's different. Every situation's different. We've talked about this before. If we look at anybody out there that's showing their results, maybe they show you the system, but not the 10,000 things that happened in their life, in their journey, in their relationships, where invisibly, universally, higher powerly, whatever, things were happening that we didn't know about. That when we got to a certain place, it was like, oh, well, when I met that dude or dudette 5 years ago at that conference, and we became friends, and this and that and that and this and that, and then this thing happened, and oh, that person appeared and had this connection and this contact, and I was able to do this and that and the other thing. Well, you don't have that at all. And so that's what's missing in a lot of this. So to make any kind of guarantee is pretty ridiculous. Now, I'm launching another one of my pieces of software that say, I can guarantee that you can write 383 headlines in a couple of seconds by answering 9 questions. That's a guaranteed result, because that you plug, you push, it does it. But to say, I can guarantee to teach you how to write a perfect pitch in a week, I can't.
Right.
Show you how I do it, but that doesn't mean you have, like Joey, when we did what we did today, that's a combined 50, 60 years of just us. Now take the hundreds of years of everything that we've osmosized and put it into that. And so there's no way to say to somebody, well, we could teach you how to do that.
Yeah, well, at the same time, we can they learned the system or whatever, and we could say, here you go, but that doesn't guarantee they're going to make any sales from that copy, whether we even write it or not. It doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything. So no. The one thing I wanted to touch on here too is what Teen said about the holding back thingy. Yeah. And this is another whole big rabbit hole thingy, but I really want to talk to that, because as you've witnessed me growing the business and how I've done it and all this other stuff. One of the key components, as you know, everything that I do is basically opposite of everybody else. And one of the key components that I looked at was that whole structure of, show them the what and sell them the how. That was the thing. I'm like, okay. And then I went and like you've seen so many webinars and training, and that was just fluff. Here's how you make $1 million. 1, 2, 3. Great. I read that last week in the New York Post, right? You know what I mean? Fantastic. So I just figured, okay, well, what I'm going to do is actually show them how to do 1 or 2 of those actual things. And if they want to go more, then they move into the next phase. So, Teen, to that, your question, I believe, and you can have your own belief on this or whatever, is that demonstrating how you can help somebody is way more powerful than telling them what to do and selling them how. Because there's no shortage of information anymore. No shortage whatsoever. Anybody can find the what of how to do something. Yeah. Right? What do you think, Scott?
Well, I'm going to go back to what Teen said, and if you would put that back up there, because it's a really important point. I don't believe in holding back anything. And same here. You know that I'll jump on and look at somebody's copy. I'll look at their website. I'll look at their funnel. I'll look at their emails. I'll look at everything, and I'll say, okay, first of all, that subject line that you've got as your headline, it's no good. And here's why it's no good. It's no good because that's not what your target audience is saying. That's not what they're waking up thinking. So here's what you need to do. you need to go find that languaging and you teach that and write marketing copy in the copy bank. That's what your headline should be. And each of your bullets, rather than saying your bullets are wrong, your bullets are too vague. They need to be detailed. They need to be benefit-driven. Benefit-driven, look at this one and tell me what the benefit is here, here, and here. And then I'll go through the whole thing. It's like there was one time 2 years ago when I was playing in the Kajabi group and was helping people because it was fun until I was told I couldn't do it at that level anymore. And I went, and rather than saying to some guy, you know what, your copy here on your landing page is garbage. It needs to be rewritten. It doesn't have this. I said, you know what? Hold on. Asked him a few questions, rewrote the whole thing in 15 minutes. And the guy was like, holy crap, you rewrote that in 15 minutes. Nobody's been able to do that for me in 5 years.
Right.
Now, if I would have said, yeah, you really need to rework your copy and it needs to have more of this and that and that. And then I was like, but I'll do it for you for this much money. Now, over the course of 2 years, I've been paid a lot of money.
But that's what everybody does is they go in and they're like the consultant piece saying, oh, I know exactly how to fix your copy. If you just tweak your headline a couple of ways, you do these things, and then they're like, great, but then what? Well, pay me $1,000 and we'll move into the next phase and I'll help you do that. No, dude, like actually show them. See that headline? What I would do is I change it like this, and here, just try this. Like write this down. What do you think about that? You're demonstrating your power. You're demonstrating your superpowers, your knowledge, your experiences. That is the way to quote unquote, sell somebody, is by demonstration.
Well, exactly. So if I go look at an opt-in or a landing page or an email, I'll look at somebody's email and say, you know what, that email's not going to work here. And I'll rewrite it and send it back to them and say, try this. And then they'll try and go, well, I just got 40, 50, 60% open rates.
Right, exactly.
Where it's like, how did that happen? I said, because the copy's written correctly. Here's how you do it. And then they're like, well, would you do more copy for me? Okay.
That's what the gift is, right? And the gift is the lead magnet for those who don't are new to my language, but the gift I call the lead magnet. The lead magnet call a gift, whichever way. But that's what it is. And that's truly what it is like when you give somebody the lead magnet, is like, it's not just just go in and grab some of your content and put it into a PDF and put up an opt-in page and you're going to get opt-ins. You might, but it's really about a gift. It's about, here, let me give you this. So it helps you do something that you want to do, move closer to where you want to be. And there you go. That's it. That's what a lead magnet really is. So that's what we're doing too, is if we get on a call or we do something else, we're still in gift mode. We're like, here, let me show you how to do this, or go try this and send it out to your email list and see what happens.
It goes to giving away your best stuff up front,
yes,
which people still have a problem with.
Right.
What if I give them my best stuff? Then what else am I going to give them? Oh my God. There's no end to what you can give them. And I'm seeing Ann here say, yeah, all the info is out there. You can Google and find out anything. If your people need help with mindset and accountability, then you find out one thing that you can help that person with changing their mindset. One thing, that's it, the best thing. Because if you teach them how to change their mindset about whatever it is you teach them, or accountability on whatever it is, then all of a sudden they'll be like, well, if she helped me do that for nothing, what would actually happen if I actually hired her to do more of it? And if you're a one-trick pony and only have one thing, then you don't have superpowers. If you've got a superpower, then that superpower extends to many places.
And I believe that, the whole information, it's already dead in my world. Information marketing or information business is not even relevant anymore. It's experiential businesses. And as soon as the faster you get on that train, the more you're going to make in your business, because people, they don't need information. It's information overload. They need people like us, experts, who can take now all the information, because it used to be, remember, Scott, where do I find the information?
Right.
Now it's like, what information do I actually use? There's way too much of it. I don't know what to use. I've got so much.
I have a shed full of ebooks. Way back when this all started, Yannick Silver and John Reese and Ken McCarthy and Kern and Marlon Sanders, and the list goes on. They were all selling ebooks, and everyone was buying them and making a fortune after selling them because the information didn't exist.
Exactly.
Now we're not doing anything different. Yannick Silver, instant sales letters. You know, Frank Kern, the big black box and the 3-day cash machine, and that funnel building, digital marketing labs. Perry Belcher. I saw Perry Belcher today on his CEO 5000 thing. I just caught it before I got on my call with my peeps. And he was teaching this amazing new concept. It was called developing a mission statement. And the 5 steps. And then he was talking about the avoidance of pain is more powerful than the pursuit of pleasure. And here's what's in your mission statement. And I'm like, okay, granted. So you can find that out there anywhere. And that's people like today, Joey, I made sure that we got those stories down to 180 words. Why? That's a minute of vocal and that's a minute of video. I'm lucky if I can get somebody to pay attention for a minute. Lucky. So give them a book or a PDF or a chapter. I love the people like, I'm going to give them the 7 reasons or the 7 tips. I was like, give them one.
Yeah. One that actually moves the needle for them, not just, oh, that's interesting. Thank you very much. Where's the next thing? No, go and do this thing. And then the needle moves for you. And, you know, going back to the workshop or whatever you want to call it today that we did, you know, those people stayed on for like what, 3 hours, 2.5 hours in watching us do the same copy to somebody else's. They were already done. They were out of the queues. Like theirs was done. They could have said, thank you very much. See you later. But no. Why? Because of the experience, because of the interaction, the connection that was there. And I'm telling you that is the secret to the next generation of online business. That's what it's all about. And that's a huge opportunity. And this is basically, if you ever heard me talk about Atlas, that's what it is. That's basically the whole thing. Let me show you how to do experiential stuff so that you can prosper in the future, because everybody coming on board right now, there is a couple of words that they use all the time. Evergreen, right? I want to just create an evergreen thing, let it sit there and just sit on the beach and make money. And people do not want information. And I promise you that. They do not want information. That's the reason why both of my main programs that people invest good money to be there don't have professional training videos in them. There's no fancy stuff. It's just a recorded Zoom call, because they're paying for the experience. They're paying for my knowledge. They're paying for my opinion. And this is very important for anybody watching this, because you are an expert in something that people need your expertise and knowledge and opinion and direction to move. If they wanted more information, they can get it anywhere. And then you're a commodity.
Yeah.
Right? Let's see. So Eddie, good job. Simple approach is show and tell and demonstrate, for sure. I completely agree with that. And I'm giving away a lot of value in a group. I'm the admin. That's amazing. For and not seeing any follow-up or important connections. So I do need to follow up with Joey and Scott to see where I'm going wrong. Here's a hard sales pitch. Join Atlas, and I'll show you exactly what to do. Honestly, like there's
real hard sales.
The most aggressive way. I mean, the best way I can show you how to do this, and it'll just to change your mind. You see all the stuff in my group, but anyway. But yeah, if they're not your dream clients, then that's okay.
How many people in the group? How did they get in the group? What's the group all about? And what value are you actually giving them? And what are they doing with that value? So there's 5 questions that I would first want to know the answer to. Like Joey on the call today, mission statement, shoot me now, pain, pleasure. Clearly, he just got the Tony Robbins tapes. Well, again, Perry Belcher's a pretty bright guy. He's been doing this for a long time, but he's building a whole new thing. Doesn't even talk about Ryan Dyson Digital Marketer Labs anymore.
But you know why though, Scott, too? At the same time, there's a billion people coming online. Like, you have no idea, granted, there's newbies who are like, what's digital marketing? And so it's like, okay, there's a whole new market that they can tap into, right?
Well, yeah, and you could start all over from the beginning. Like, when I first work with anybody, it's like, what's your mission statement? What's your escalator speech? What's your vision statement? What's your exit strategy? And who's your ideal audience? I want to know those 5 things. And that's what he was saying, was you need to know those 5 things, because how are you going to go anywhere unless you know? So Ann says earlier, yes, that's what I heard too. Show the what and sell the how. And the webinars are super irritating.
Yeah.
I still have yet to do an evergreen. I will one day because it's for our product, but I'm still doing live ones because that's just how we do it.
I'm telling you, the way that, at least the way that I have switched to doing things, is super, super easy for me. Clients love it because of the interaction, and it's real. It's always different. I have people coming into cohort after cohort who are in the previous one or came to another workshop when they were in another thing, and I'm like, why did you come again? And they're like, because you just say it differently, and it's a different perspective, because it's not scripted. Everything is like, okay, here's what I want to teach somebody, and you just you might have a couple of points on a slide or something, but you're telling, right, you're describing something differently, and that experience is always new. It's always different, no matter how many times you say the same thing.
It can't ever be the same thing, even though it's like, people ask me, Scott, you go to Bikram yoga every day and you do the same 26 postures twice every day. How do you do the same thing every day? It's never the same thing, ever.
Right.
No posture is ever the same. I'm never the same. My metabolism, my physiology, never the same. When we look at, and you do need to get the information for Atlas, because Joey,
she said, don't send me the information. You do not. You do. Oh, you do need. I thought it said you don't need to send me. Sorry.
Joey, just stick with me, okay? Relax.
I'm sorry. I'm still breathing pizza fumes.
And Eddie is right. We're in that transition of engagement. Our followers want a personal touch. If everybody that was looking to go to business and discovered what their superpower was and knew how they could help their ideal customer, their dream client, all they would have to do is get on 2 calls a day for 30 minutes and do it 3 days a week, not even 5. 3 days a week, do 6 calls a week, make it 7, just because I like the number 7. Do 7 calls a week for 30 minutes. And in those 30 minutes, find out one thing you could help that person with, deliver on it, help them, and thank them, and tell them to have a nice day. I guarantee you do that for a minimum of 2 weeks, you'll end up with a paying client or 2.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind. Why?
So there's no, so we can connect this back to what we're talking about here, which is the big promise. You haven't made any big promise whatsoever. No. You're just looking at where, getting up and how do I serve somebody with my superpower today? Oh, there's Scott. Hey, Scott, listen, can I ask you a couple questions, or how can I help you here? Let me show you this, or whatever. You show that person and you go, here you go. Does that help you? And they're like, yeah, awesome. You're like, okay, great. Have a nice day. Hopefully if there's anything else, ask me a question, let me know, whatever, right? It's that simple.
It's the opposite of the big promise. It's the big help.
Yeah.
Eddie said,
what's the one thing I can do to help you today?
How, I call it e-empathy. You and I have it. We can look at a post and say, I know exactly what your problem is and I know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Let's get on a call. Let me fix it for you.
Yep.
And that's what you go in and say, hey, let's jump on a Zoom call. I know how to help you with the problem you're experiencing. No discovery call, no clarity call, no
Right.
fee call, no any call. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions, and then let me show you what to do about it. Go do it. Get the result with one thing.
Yeah.
And that goes to what we talked about, the lead magnet, the gift. Give them one thing that they can get an immediate result from. You know, Angel Hill talks about that. What's the return on investment? For me, taking a minute of my time to watch your video, to read your post, because I'll give you a minute, if that. Remember, YouTube allows you to click skip ad after 5 seconds, which means you got 5 seconds to be really good. And what you and I did today with my peeps was in that first shot, those first 2 shots was the story of you. And someone has to say, I relate to that. That's me. Otherwise, it's kind of like the call out in a headline. Attention, women wishing they could do yoga but are too afraid to put on yoga clothes. There's my headline, calling out. If a guy looks at it and goes, that ain't me. If, you know, some hard body looks at it and says, I like wearing the short stuff because I look good in it. That's not who it is. But when you go look at somebody and say, I know what your problem is, I'm going to help you right now. So looking at that one little promise of help.
Yeah, it's when you know who that person is, you can help. And these are the biggest things. I don't know about the people you're speaking to now, but for me, in this last, I guess, over the summer, whatever it's been, I mean, this year, with the crew and the right marketing copy, all this stuff, it's always about them being afraid to niche down, like to niche down to it's this one person. And I know it's a scary thing to do, but that's how you stand out, first of all. And it doesn't mean you only work with that one person, the dream client, I like to call them. And it's about that dream client now that you're working with. And so for Anne, because she said maybe they're not your dream clients, that's okay. If all your dream clients aren't in the group, once you define who the dream client is, and that's an exercise all on its own. So you got to really make sure you're defining that dream client. Because money, like paying for something, is like the last on the list. Like that's the last thing that is on that dream client list. They can afford to pay me. They're not going to struggle with this and that. But there's so many other things in that qualifier list and disqualifier list that I call the anti-avatar. And when you do that, and you're speaking only to that dream client and doing what we're saying here, what Scott is saying is by, oh, that person right there has the problem that I could fix. That is when the dreams clients begin to notice who you are and begin to speak amongst themselves as well. And that's where you start getting the engagement and the connections and all that stuff. Yeah.
So here is my question for everybody. It's if your dream client, and I'm going to say dream client is somebody with a problem that you could fix. If right now you got a message on Facebook from somebody who said, I need help with blank, what would that be that everybody in this group, on this call right now, on the replay, could say, if I saw this question anywhere in any group, I know without a doubt, I could jump on and within 15 to 30 minutes, help solve that problem. So that's what I want to know.
Yeah. So I'll add to that. To me, that is still not a dream client. That is you're problem solving and you're picking where your superpowers are. However, the dream client goes further, which means that, like, so you and I, let's say somebody that we focused on copy. I need help with my opt-in page or my funnel. Like you do strategic funnel stuff, right? There, you could go in and solve all kinds of people's problems, but are they a dream client if they can't afford to pay you?
No.
Then that's not a dream client. Are they a dream client if they're not coachable to you?
No.
Then that's not a dream client, right? So, but you can still help that person say, oh, that person's having a problem with the funnel. So we have to be very clear on what a dream client truly is. And the way that I define dream client is basically there's absolutely nothing wrong with them in terms of, I don't know how that came out, but like it's absolutely perfect for you, where there's no friction, there's no anything. Everything is absolutely perfect for both of you. So when you say, look, for me, I'm a motivator, I'm a momentum guy. So if you sit there and you're on the fence all the time, if you never want to move, if you're sitting there and going, I need all the green lights to be green before I step out of the driveway, you and I aren't going to get along. Like, I don't care how good of a person you are and how much you want to pay me, we ain't going to get along. Right. So that's not a dream client to me. Like, so there's these other things that have to go into place for a dream client.
Okay, so I'm going to rephrase my question for the answer. So if your dream client posted in a group that you're involved in, if a dream client sent you a Facebook message, I want you to write me exactly what the message would be, the help that they're looking for, that you could say, I could help you right now solve that problem. So I would like to know that from each person on this call today. What's the question somebody's asking? What's the problem that they're having that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt you could answer and help them to get an immediate result, benefit, solution, or advantage?
Right. And this is great. Like, so the dream client definitely has to happily pay your fee and all that. Yeah. But to me, it's like the lowest, it's the last one on the list, right? What are the other things? I'd like to know, what are the other not boundaries. What am I looking for, Scott? The
parameters?
Yeah, I was going to say parameters. What are the qualifiers for them to be a dream client? Like you're basically checking off a list, right? They're speaking to you or you're basically interviewing them, okay? And you're like, yes, 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 yes. There has to be a hell yes. Like basically out of 20 questions, they got to get 19 right or they're not passing through. That's basically what a dream client is. So I'd like to know.
I mean, we require that when we work with somebody that, here's your responsibility. And when you sign the agreement, you're agreeing that you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to do what we're going to do. But if you don't do what you're going to do, you can't expect us to do what we're going to do. So that's a really important point.
Well, I always have these, like I know my dream clients so well. So when I'm talking to anybody, I'm listening for trigger words on both sides. I'm listening for anti-avatar trigger words, and I'm looking for dream client words. And if anybody's on this call, if they've ever had a call with me, you probably have heard me say to you, if you're a dream client, I say, that's exactly what I was waiting to hear. Like, that's perfect. Like you're just part of my dream client tribe just by you saying that. I'll actually tell them that because they don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm very clear on who I can work with. And there's a reason why we do this. And it's so important. It's because, and we had this call on the Atlas call today. This is what we talked about a little bit, which was it's a paradigm shift where some of us believe, and I was there too, I'm not pointing any fingers. Some of us believe that we need to have something that's difficult. Like for us, no, if it's easy for us, then that's not fair. Like we shouldn't have an easy business. It should be difficult for us to do this kind of stuff. And I'm like saying, no. It's got to be super easy for you. And it's super hard for them. And that's where the marriage happens and here's a big point about this is that even though it's super easy for you to do, like for us today, whatever that was, right? It was easy for us to do. And then if we said to them, okay, now your mission is to go and write it yourself and create the video and post it online and then and that'll be by, Friday. I want you to go do that. We have no control over what they're going to do, right? So it's not that we're saying to them that that the thing that's easy for us and that the people are going to do the thing. what I'm trying to get at is that even if somebody did not go through the whole process of completing what we were helping them do, it's that they can come back and say, yeah, I'm really not sure about this or about that. And we don't get angry about it. We're like, okay, cool. And we can talk about it over and over and over and over again, because it's our passion and it's something we love to do and we love helping. And because it's so easy, we're not thinking about, oh my God, like I already spent like 40 hours coming up with that strategy. I can't even remember what I thought about anymore. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Well, first of all, Teen said focus, goal, and willingness to do the work with my help and pay me. Yeah, that's what our dream client looks like. And that's
there's got to be more. I'm going to push you to do more, Teen.
You're right. It does need to be more.
Everybody, it needs to be very, very specific on who that dream client is. I just told you what one of mine was, which is, if you're a procrastinator, which everybody is, but if you're a chronic procrastinator who will never move unless you know that everything that you do is going to be perfect and you're not going to make a mistake, we're not going to get along. You're not a dream client for me. I need people who are willing to jump and make a mistake and go, okay, that didn't work. So what else can we do, Joey? Right? I need that flexibility and adaptability in someone. But if you're someone, and I can tell right away by speaking to somebody, if they're like, I need this to be absolutely perfect before I hire you or work with you, right? Though that's one of the stipulations.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you were going to say something about what I was just rambling about there.
No, I was not going.
Okay. Should I just keep rambling then? Or?
Going to talk about your sign behind you. Get clear direction.
Yes, get clear direction. Where is it? Right there. Oh yeah. Get clear direction.
Nobody answered my question. I'm out of here.
It's because it's a tough question, right? We have to agree that the dream client thing is tough, and the reason is because it's thinking outside of the box. It's thinking that where this is about you, okay? You're listening to me right now. This is about you first. And the reason most of us that I've found working with people is that we are afraid sometimes to write down stuff. And this is not something that anybody's going to see. This is your own checklist, whatever. It's not a marketing thing. And it's that you're being selfish. It's like, wait a second. This is not supposed to be about me. It's supposed to be about them. Yes, marketing and business, and you're in business to help other people. However, it begins with you. It begins with you having an awesome dream business with dream clients. That's how you get through all of the hard crap. That's how you get through all the stuff when you don't see the result, because you're building a dream business with dream clients. We went totally off topic here, but this is still a very important topic to talk about.
Well, so Eddie did reply. Thank you, Eddie Sand. I love you and appreciate you. He will passionately assist if somebody says how to drive traffic we need to our funnel and scale it. Well, that's Eddie's superpower. He's going to jump in and he's going to help somebody. And he can jump in, he can take a look and go do this, 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 and this, and this, and this will work.
Yeah, and Eddie, again, I'm going to push you to go even further. Like, who does that dream client look like? What do they need to have? Are they in a specific business? Do they need to have a specific client list, like an asset that you need? Do they have to have a certain personality? Those are huge things. Like, what are the characteristics of the person that is your dream client? And we forget about all these because we think about the monetary pieces. Well, they got to kind of like Facebook. Okay, great, but that's not a dream client. So it's deeper. Who is that person that here's the way to look at it. If Scott was able to wave a magic wand and give you dream clients, who would they be? That's what it is. It's like, if you gave me these people, I could do this in my sleep. List those qualities, list everything that person needs to be. And that's what a dream client is. It's basically getting out and dreaming a little bit here. That's why they're called dream clients. Dream a little bit. Jump out of your head.
Where do you cover that whole dream client qualification requirement questionnaire list, Joey?
I believe it's in both Atlas and WMC, right? Marketing copy.
It's like really, it's like I told you about Jason Moffat's Equity 5000 program. And he has you do a lot of that. He even has you put your clients, prospective clients, through personality tests and pay $50, and so that you know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, I do that with my private clients. I pay for a Colby test for them just so they know and I know what they're all. But this is it's those are important. What this is more is about just choosing your best friend. It's about like I want to be able to spend my life with this dream client.
Yeah.
And who would that person be? So if there's anything that's going to irritate me, then why would I wouldn't want to spend my life on a desert island with that person.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for us to work with people who annoy us. That's the bottom line. And it's not about us being judging people. It's more about, no, these are my superpowers. This is who I am and how I can help people, right? And my ADD and all the stuff that I do is there's a certain person who just can't handle the way that I operate. And I get that. They're not against me or anything else. It's just that our working abilities or whatever don't align. So if I was just going after money, then I would either have to change the way that I do things, and that would make me anxious, or vice versa. And that's not cool.
Anne made a good point in what you're saying is here. She's looking for fit, and she has a dry sense of humor. So her dream clients, they have to have a good sense of humor, or
that's what I'm looking for.
That's exactly, or she's going to scare them and they're not going to get it. And there's going to be this, I love playing and engaging with people in fun ways. And if people are too serious, then no.
Yeah, and see, so and that to you, see, if right away you had to filter yourself or be someone you're not, just to get the money because they said, "Oh, I can pay you," but then you're not who you are. There's always that level of like caution when you're going into the relationship. And to me, I was in that kind of atmosphere. I'm like, this is crazy. I can't be like this anymore. Whereas now, oh my God, I just show up the way that I show up. And dream clients, they're just awesome. Like I just have to tell you.
Eddie's got a reply, and then Monica is weighing
in. A bit of whom dream clients are change maker entrepreneurs who are struggling to massively expand their business due to their unsustainable processes and unscalable marketing methods. You're still on the level of describing a marketing message, Eddie. It's getting better, but I want to know, like, Anne, where Anne went was like, look, I've got a dry sense of humor, and they have to be able to be okay with that. What you're saying, Eddie, right there is a marketing message that I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad, but get deeper. Like, who is that person? Who would you spend the rest of your life with on a desert island? And who are they as a person? Characteristics, that kind of stuff. And Monica Murphy. So women who love to do creative stuff, they're ready to experiment and explore, right? They can laugh at themselves. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is it. They can laugh at themselves. They're kind. They want to make clothes that light them up. They like getting their hands dirty with paint and play around. See? So if you had somebody, Monica, who came in and said, I'm not touching any paint. I need gloves. What happens if I get dirty? Yep. Like, that's not a dream client. You're like, oh my God, get dirty. Get in there. Put some mud on your face, right?
I don't want to make a mistake. It's got to be perfect. No. If I mess up the seams, I'll rip them up and start all over again. That's who she's looking for. Yes. Look at what I just made. That's funny. I wouldn't give that to the Salvation Army.
Passion driven and making an impact. Getting better, buddy. Dig. Who's the person? Passion driven, making an impact. What kind of an impact? Sorry, man. I'm just pushing Eddie. Because I want to help him. Through helping him, we can help other people who may not be engaging in this conversation right now. But this is great. We thank you all for all these amazing comments and playing along with us. We're just trying to push you a little bit further.
Always pushing further.
when I've had to do this, I've had to answer questions like, what's keeping them up at night? Yes. Are they married, single, kids? No. Because if it's too high, they can't problem solve. These are all demographical things. Most of it's demographics, and that's okay, but we don't market to demographics. It's always about the audience and where they're going. And so this is another paradigm shift where it's the audience that can be a mix of all kinds of different people, but they're going to the same place. They're going to the same place. They have a problem that they all identify with, and then they're going to the same place, and you can help them do that, but they're dream clients.
So I just want to say something about that, because that information that Ann is talking about is important for certain aspects of marketing. But as far as, it does, the demographics and psychographics play a role. I was talking to someone the other day who's trying to hedge their online bets. And I was like, you need to start doing postcard marketing. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, find your target audience, deliver them a postcard that's 99.9% guaranteed to deliver by the United States Postal Service. And you're going to get through to your target audience with a great message, and at least they'll see your message. And so when you start to, that's where that information becomes important, because if you're going to spend some money on a piece of advertising, same way, if you're going to spend money for a click, for an ad impression, for a retarget, then you really have to know who that audience is. So that's where that piece comes in.
Well, it all depends too. Like, if you're right, like if you're doing a physical mail thingy, all these demographic pieces are important. Psychographics are always important. I never said that they were not. That's what you really focus on. The demographical piece is if I see this mistake a lot of times in Facebook advertising, where they know the demographics, or they believe they know the demographics, and maybe they do, like it's 35 to 50-year-old men, whatever, right? And then they force Facebook to go out only after those people. And to me, that's a mistake, because there's a whole other level of why that's a mistake at the top end of the funnel. Okay, we won't even get into that. So the demographics are very important to a small portion of the businesses and services that we do. That's all I'm saying, is because, for instance, I don't know if you are, I don't know, dude, like, what's an example? Like, an example is going to be the one I always go to with, which is women, women who just had a baby. That's a major demographic. First of all, you're eliminating men, because obviously, okay. So now we've got a demographic. Okay, then what do you do? Well, I help premenopausal women or something. That's moving the needle up a little bit, right? You're not going to talk to a 20-year-old. You're not going to talk to a 30-year-old. So that's moving that demographic up. That's where the demographics are a little bit more important in the way that I look at it.
I agree with you 100%. I like Roy Williams from Wizard of Ads, who talks about this same topic of, unless you are marketing to women, whatever, you just said, prenatal, premenstrual, postpartum, whatever it is, that if you're helping with a specific problem that only a specific part of the population has.
That's right.
Women that are 35 to 55 who are having their second child by this, using this and this with this issue and that, and that, and that, and that. That's totally focused, niching within the niche.
That's right.
You're offering a product or service that helps people overcome an issue, stress, anxiety, pressure relating to job. I just saw that job put up there, because Ann said, well, then everybody, or women that are looking to get out of an old job and into a new job, are experiencing that anxiety. So to cut that too close doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of comments, Joey.
So, Monica, you described my characteristics, but I would never do business with you. We are too similar, but I don't have the problems you solve. See, so there you go, Monica. You were able to repel, in a good way, Petra. She's not your dream client. And so and that's what we're afraid of is, or at least from my experience of talking to so many people about this is, well, what about all these other people? The more you can talk about one thing, the more you stand out because you repel everybody else. That's not for me. Here's the word that I think everybody needs to try as best possible to put into their marketing language or how they describe who they work with. The word is only. This is only for this person. And when you describe, when I challenge my clients on this one, I'll say, okay, great. You want to know how to find the dream client. Where are your dream clients only hanging out? Right? So if you are a plumber, you're going to only be in a sump pump Facebook group. Only plumbers are going to be in a sump pump Facebook group type of thing. You know what I'm saying? That's where they only are. That's it. If you are Monica's an artist, so where are only your dream clients hanging out? And that would be in an artist type of environment on Facebook or online or whatever.
I think you could do something with sump pumps, Joey. You like that too much.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where these ideas are flying from.
So Monica, I love it. No demographics. I hated that in our group that you found me in. It seemed cold and unrelatable. Again, it goes back to earlier on, we were talking about information. And if you were doing direct response marketing, then those demographics, psychographics become really important. In what we're talking about,
there's always an area for them, right, Scott?
Go take your email list, upload it to some data system, get the information that it tells you about your clients, and look at it and say, okay, this is what my client, how much they make, their education. It gives me a good feel for them.
Definitely.
But that's just a tiny little piece. Then you got to go take the right marketing copy bank piece and say, okay, because that's not going to tell me their language. That's not going to tell me what they're talking about. If I know that Bob Michaels is 65 years old and I know what he did, and I know what his passion for cars was, and I know from talking and using car-related analogies, and if I wanted to go advertise in magazines, I would know where to find him because I know what he reads. But when it comes to this, that's when you really got to dig deeper, like you're making Eddie do. So right. Ann says, okay, are you new to your job or not? Where are you at in your career? For me, and I help people find a job they love, the demographics are more about, are you new to your job or not? Where are you at in your career? That's more the psychographic stuff.
Yeah, and then there are levels of, what, see, to me, I would even further on that, which is like, okay, what, getting a job you love, to me is very abstract. It's where are they in their situation, your dream client to you. And so here's the thing. A dream client is basically someone that if I gave to you, you would say, I could get them a new job, a new career like this. No problem. Just give me this type of a person and I'll get them a new career. Like, who is that? That's what I want to know. And it's not that, well, they need to hate their job and they want a new career. That is not a dream client because everybody hates their job. Like pretty much everybody hates their job.
It's important, especially for Ann at this point, is to define the anti-avatar.
It's easier to do that.
What's that?
It's way easier to do that than it is to do the dream client.
Do they currently have a job? In what industry or what type of industry or profession? Is it their first job, second job? Are they hating their job because they're not getting this, that, and that? Because we could go into any business right now, Joey. Go to your house, drive to the first place that's got, restaurants in a mall. And we could walk into every one and find somebody that hates their job that wants a new job. But, I was a chef, executive chef at a place, and there were people there that wanted new jobs. If I was charged with finding new jobs, I wouldn't have any of those as my clients. I would not, because of who they are and what they are. They were smokers, they were slackers, they were late all the time. They didn't respect anything. They didn't have a great work ethic. They just didn't care. And the list went on. So
it's the defining the situation, right, Scott? Because if somebody came to you or you went in the group and said, I need to hire a copywriter. Okay. And they came to you and they get on the call with you and they're like, this is amazing. And you're like, great, it's $15,000. And they're like, holy crap, right? Like right away, you've just wasted time. It's like, they're not your dream client. So I need a copywriter, or I want to write better copy. I want to have a better sales page. I want to have a better career. What's the situation that your dream client is in? And that's the thing. You know that my dream clients are all the people who have already been through all the rabbit holes, who have suffered failures and they've been knocked down too many times, right? Like there's a certain situation that I can describe that somebody will say, that's me. And that's what I want. Is like, I want that person to go, yeah, that's me, and not going, hey, do you want to make a whole bunch of money on your online business too? Like, yeah, who doesn't want to make a whole lot of money, right?
What's really important here about this exercise is I know exactly who your dream client is. And so when I have somebody that I know is your dream client, I just have to say, you need to talk to Joey, period. That's the
right. Because I talk about it all the time, right? Like I describe it to you and you're like, I know exactly who can help you.
Yeah.
Right. That's the point.
That's why I'll go back to, I need to know what somebody's mission statement is. That's why everybody in our membership, in our group, I'm like, I need to know that so that when somebody comes to me and says, I'm looking for somebody to help me do X, Y, Z, we had a project. I knew exactly who could do that project. Why? Because I had them do all this so that I could say, okay, Charles and Andrea, you're on this project. And that was it. I didn't have to worry about it. So to me, it's really vital that you know who your dream client is and isn't, so that other people can. So if I'm cruising around and I've got a dear friend that I want to help who's like, Scott, I'm miserable in my job. I XYZ, ABC, I could say, I know Ann Sutton and she deals with exactly that. But if they're like, Scott, I this and that, I'm like, Ann can't help you because you're not what she's looking for.
Well, and to that point, let's say as an example, I don't know if this is true, Ann, or not, but let's say an example like because Scott's bringing up an amazing point here, which is going to help everybody when you are out giving content or whatever you're doing, helping other people in the world. Okay. So it is that, let's say for argument's sake that Ann says, I help, executive women who want to move up the corporate ladder, but have already been through two jobs or something. They've already had 2 careers. They're unhappy with it, blah, blah, blah. So there's more of a specific demographic and there's more of a problem there. These women, only these people are people I help with. So if I come along to you and said, yeah, Scott, just hating my job, man. And you're like, well, what are you doing? I got this thing and I'm just not happy with it. And I just want to get another job. You're not going to send me, forget even the men and women. Let's just say I just said that to you. You would say, well, you're not an executive, right? This is your first job. And then you want to get another job. You would immediately not think of Ann.
Right.
And that's the point. The point is, well, Joey's not right for Ann, even though she could maybe help me, but that's not the dream client marketing we're talking about.
And you just made a really great point there. There are often times when we could say, I probably could help them. We probably could do that. But you know what? That's not what we do. That's not what your superpower is. Oh, yeah, we could do, this and such a thing. Well, but that's not, let me go hire somebody else who will do that.
Yeah. And the other thing to that point is that the way that I describe it is that when you need to adjust and adapt your unique process to every client, that's not a dream client. Now, I want to be careful when I say that because it doesn't mean that you're rigid and there's this kind of thing. I believe you still need to be adaptable and specific to clients, right? But the overall structure and everything that you do, your unique process, if it needs to be, oh, so you don't want 6 calls and you only want 1 call a month, and or whatever it is, you adapt way too much. That's not a dream client, because you could probably help them. Yeah, I could, if I massage what I'm doing here, then I can help you. And now you've got all these different methods or systems or processes for every single client, and you're like, oh my God. And that's what gets overwhelmed. At least that's the way my life was. It was like, holy crap, man.
No, you're right. It's like if someone says, I would like you to help me write copy and build a funnel for this thingy. And I'd be like, that's not really what I love to do. And I can't take you from a couple of thousand to 100,000 a month.
Well, here's an example. Here, I'll throw this at you. Let's say that I came to you and I said to you, okay, look, I want you to write my copy and build my funnel. And you're like, okay, cool. However, I have this digital marketing team that you need to deal with, and I got a Facebook guy too that you need to collaborate with. What are you going to say?
Have fun.
Right. But you could do it. You could say, oh, well, okay, well, he's going to pay me $18 million. May as well, I could help him, right? But that's not what you do the best.
Because I've already been there, done that. And when it's like, well, your Facebook guy is going to say he knows more than my Facebook gal, and your digital team is going to say that's not the way to do it, and your web guy is going to say no, I shouldn't. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just not even go there. So we got some more comments. Let's second draft. Beat them up, Joey.
A creative online business, optimistic, and don't make me laugh, man. I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to be professional here. Willing to communicate with all transparency. I love that. You see the transparency.
I agree. I saw that. Knew you were going to like that.
Big heart. I love that. Make an impact. Not afraid. To highly price their value and time. There you go, Eddie. Now you're talking, because if somebody said to you, yeah, I've got this thing and I sell it for $7, and you're like, dude, I think that's got to be $700, right? And they're like, that's insane. You're like, you could still help them, but will you? That's not a dream client, because they go, oh my God, it's really going to be hard for me to make a $7 funnel or make money, right? So this is good.
Well, what do you mean? Everybody in the world needs my $7 thing, and there's 7 billion people. I only need 10% of them, so why can't you? Of those?
If I get 1,000 a day, man, that's $7,000 a day.
Yeah, that's 210 grand. That's $2.5 million a year. Come on.
And helps women who just had a baby lose the baby weight. I think you just give an example, but that's exactly right. And team.
Okay, I would probably want to. There are some women who get pregnant, gain a lot of weight, more than just, and are they motivated? Do they need to be motivated? That's just a question of curiosity for Ann. Is, do they need to have a reason? Do they need to be motivated? Are there some characteristics around that person that, or is it somebody that was in great shape, had a difficult pregnancy, and then gained weight because they couldn't be mobile, they couldn't exercise because the doctor said it, as opposed to somebody that's heavy to begin with, has a baby, is even heavier, and just is miserable. Just curious.
Yeah, she was just giving an example, but you're right, Scott. Like, those are the things. Because I use that example all the time about losing the belly fat or the baby fat afterwards, and it's usually about from the knowledge that I know, which is very little, to give the examples. It was always about, I want to get back to pre-baby weight. That's what they're always about, pre-baby weight, whatever that weight is to them, and they understand it. And if you talk to their language that way, they're like, yes, I want that back, right? So grown-ups involved in bullying cases. I think you were talking about who your dream clients are. Again, push further. Like, who are they? Why do they involved in bullying cases? Are they
actually, Joey, go down 3 comments.
Okay. Too wide. Okay, wait. So and let's go. Only the word of the day is only. Yes, it is. Too wide. How to bring grown-ups together when cooperation, halt, stop, struggle. No, I don't follow that one. How to bring grown-ups together when cooperation, halt, stop, struggle. Scott?
I'm how to bring grown-ups together. Teen deals with bullying, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think she deals with situations and cases involved in bullying. So maybe there's grown-ups involved, and I'm trying to answer grown-ups involved, and the cooperation breaks down, comes to a stop because blame and things start to happen. So maybe she's bringing in those cases together. So we probably need a little bit more information.
It's difficult. Like I just see it from because there's 3 different pieces here. We've talked to her before about this. And
Yeah.
so that there's I don't know if there's a dream client in there. Like it's a dream, there's clients and are they all it's very difficult for me, at least from my perspective, to get all 3 of them in the same thingy. Like they
So
might want the same thing, but are they the dream client?
is there a dream situation?
Yeah, there is a dream situation. That's a better way to put it.
Or teen?
Yes.
You know, a dream situation which involves different people. It's kind of like, you know, if you were to go be a coach of a baseball team and you wanted to go find a dream team to work with, you know, say, okay, if there's a pitcher who's got a great arm and a catcher that's got this and a first baseman, blah, 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 I can put all these guys together. But if, you know, the pitcher is this and that and that and that, blah, blah. So
yeah, the dream area, right? I remember teen. You're right. It's a dream situation. Like so, if everybody has to be on the exact same page, they have to think and basically be replicas of each other. They're just coming from different pieces of the puzzle. That to me would be the dream situation. So everybody has to check all the boxes. Do you agree with all of these things? And that would be it. So yours would be they have to agree with or have to think this way and like all of those things, list them down as if it's one person. It's still a dream client exercise, but because you're bringing people in, they have to agree with all of those things or align with all of those things in order for you to speak one message continuously. And they're like, and that's what the thing is, where they're putting up their hand. Yes, that's me. It's so right, Scott?
yeah, Monica's got a long one. There's a whole bunch of stuff. We got to get caught up here, Joey.
All right. So exactly, there are a lot of, I'm just going to go here. A lot of people I could probably help. They are not my dream clients. Right on. And all the different processes are exhausting. It is, right? You found that too? Perfect. Dream client is also someone who you love to help. Yes. Not someone you could help. That's right. It is someone that you want to hang out with, that you love. They don't have the qualities you want in them, but they don't have the qualities you want in them, nor do they want what you absolutely love to do. I'm not sure. Am I reading that wrong?
Don't have the qualities you want in them, nor do they want what you absolutely love to do. They only want what you could do. There's no fun or joy in that.
No, that's the opposite.
No, I think she's on there, Joey, because what she's saying is you've got to love helping the dream client. Not that you could, you want to love doing it. And they don't have the qualities you want in them, nor do they want what you absolutely love to do. So if they don't need what you love to do, they only want what you could do. There's no fun enjoying it then. So yeah, you could help people make money, Joey, over time. And that's what you could do.
So she's describing the anti-avatar in there. That's where I was screwed up.
Yeah. mean, yeah, exactly. We know what, so we don't, yeah. And Anne was giving us an example. And
Sorry
then
about the English. When school and parents struggle cooperating, the help to the child stops. Yes.
that's so what I'm seeing is, so you've got the school, you've got the parents, and the child is the one that needs the help. And when the school and the parents are not, they're struggling, they're clashing, and the communication stops, then everything breaks down.
Well, here's an example that, and team, tell me if I'm right about this. So it would be where, okay, the dream scenario would not be where Scott is, he's the whatever, he's the school principal, I'm the parent, and you come to us and you say, here's the problem, and I go, well, that's not my problem, that's the school's problem. Like, you don't want that, right? You want to have, and I'm just making this up, but that's where I see where the dream scenario has to be. No, this is not a situational problem. The school, the parent at home, this is all of us. All of us, and they all have to agree to that. Yes, there's no blame here at all. We're all in this together, and it's a three-way thing, right? That's what a dream scenario to me would be, because as soon as you get somebody who says, well, that's not my part because they're at school, and that's the school's problem to deal with at that point.
Well, and then teen further on down is saying, listening to you today, I think I'm a problem solver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all problem solvers. Every single one of us is problem solvers. It's just how do we solve the problem, and how do we do it within our superpowers? And the dream client is about, this is the problem that I could solve for this person. It's just like Seth Godin says, right? People like us do things like this. So it's mine is people like us solve problems for these people, for this person, or these people. That's it. Only these people. Let's put that word only. We help people. We only help these people solve this problem. Right? It's like, that's it. That's all I do. And that's where we're so afraid of saying that only piece. But if I only do that, then what about all these other people? And that's where you come in, Scott, and say, well, I know exactly what Joey can do, because that's all the guy talks about.
Right. Well, exactly. And then when I see a situation, I can say, you need Joey in here.
And same vice versa. Cooperating, we got that one. Listening to you today, I think I'm a problem solver. You are. You're welcome. I forgot to tie it together. Those who you could help don't. I think we got it. You're kind of intertwining the dream client and the anti-avatar in the same thingy, but you're right. So yes, they've tried on their own meetings but struggle. So you're a mediator. You're bringing these people together and trying to get them on the same level without blame, and saying that this is not a one-sided thing, right? There's no blame here. We need to solve the problem together to help the child.
They have tried on their own in meetings, but struggle. Yep.
That's it. So this took a major turn today, but I love it because I love talking about this kind of stuff. Thank you guys for joining in this conversation. It's really great. Hoping it helped you. If you did like it, give us a like, or maybe a heart. Let Facebook or YouTube let us know that we're doing an okay job. And if not, that's okay too. We love that you're here. Thank you every single Tuesday for being here, for supporting us, myself and Scott. And Scott takes time out of his day every single Tuesday. Thank you for that, for the last, 73 episodes, man. Really appreciate you. So grateful for you. And for everybody watching us, it's amazing.
Joey, I'm going to be totally vulnerable here.
Sure.
I'm going to share a story. And it's really yeah. So I shared with you that a former client came to me and was looking for some help. And I looked at what they were doing, and I put together what I thought because I've worked with this client, made them a lot of money. And I put together a proposal that had my ego in it. And I submitted, it wasn't even a proposal. It was just a call. And I said, it's going to cost you this much money. And they were like, oh my God, that's a lot. And I was like, well, you usually pay me this and this to do these things. And it didn't feel right. And I pushed it on the person. It was more about me than them. And it's the first time I've done that in a long time. And I'm not going to say, excuses, reasons of that. It just did.
Yeah.
And after I did it, and he said, I'll get back to you at the end of the day, Friday. And I was like, he's not going to get back to me. And he sent me an email Saturday and said, the engagement just doesn't feel right. And I was like, he says, I'm going to pass on it. And it bugged me to the point that I called him Sunday, and we've called each other because there's a friendship and then there's a business relationship in this. And I called him Sunday. I wished him a happy Father's Day. And I said, I want to chat with you for a few minutes. Didn't hear back from him. Yesterday evening, I left the office and I called him again on my way home. And I said, he picked up the phone. He goes, I'm on with a customer. Can I call you back? I said, please do. I just want to chat with you. He called me back about 15, 20 minutes later. And I said, first of all, thank you for not accepting the engagement. It wouldn't have been a good one because it was my ego. I said this to a client. It was my ego and I pushed it on you and I shouldn't have. It was more about me thinking I knew what was best for you, which I've helped him in the past tell him what's best for him, that he agreed was best for him, and then we move forward. And I said, I want to apologize to you for doing that because that's not the way I like to do business. And he said, I'm shocked. He said, I thought you were angry with me. I said, no. He says, I wasn't angry with you. I said, I thank you for not accepting it because it wouldn't have been right. And again, I said, I apologize. And he goes, apology accepted, water under the bridge. Now I want to hire you.
Nice.
To do, this thing that we talked about, which was a little bit different.
Did the offer change?
Well, yeah, because he wanted to hire me now to write some copy, which is what I do for him. And that benefits him extremely well. The challenge with this other piece was it involved teams of people where I had to bring in people and creatives and designers and that, which added to the cost of it, where he's okay paying a lot of money for the copy because he can see that. He just didn't see that he wanted a whole new thing. And he told me what he wanted, and I misinterpreted what he really wanted, thinking I knew what he wanted because I'm the video guy.
Right. Okay.
I'm the marketing guy, and I'm the this and that. And just thank you, Ann. And I just wanted to put that out there because we talk a lot about what we do and how we do. And we also share when we don't do everything exactly.
Yeah, no, it never works out 100% for us.
No, and again, to me, I could not let it go. Because I said to him, I said, you know what? If you never hire me again, I could care less. I said, I just wanted to let you know that that's not the way I do things. And there were reasons behind it. And I don't need reasons or excuses. It is what it was. And I just said, hey, this was the deal. You're welcome, Monica. It's anybody that is perfect and is always right and always making money and never did anything and this and that and that.
Yeah, it's my God. That's maybe we should talk about that one next week because that's a whole other, who is it that said it's damaging admissions? We talked about that, I think, episode 3.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, we talked about that, and you and I, shared. I talked about desperation funnels that I did years ago, that I had to do them because so.
Well, it's not about going out there and being perfect. It's like, look at me. I'm so great. I've never screwed up in my life, and you can do it too. Wow. Really? Okay. Well, even if that's true, which it is never true, what's going to happen when it finally does crash on you, or the smallest little pin drops, and I'm going to be there taking the brunt of it all? Forget it, man. Like, that's just a whole other level we'll talk about.
Like I said, we talk a lot.
Thank you for sharing that.
About software companies and launches and funnels and this and clients and this and that, and even we launched 8 products last week. We hit another home run. It was great, fantastic. We're launching. I just realized I forgot I have a whole other piece of software that I didn't even think about that I've got to launch. It's totally, but there's also these other pieces where, yeah, I can launch and funnels and copy and this and figure out stuff and deals. And you and I came up with a new thing, a goofball offer, which is working great. But then you do things that you need to talk about also.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not perfect, and we don't always hit a home run. Sometimes we strike out.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we do these calls, because and that's why I'm so adamant about the dream client thing. That's why I'm always talking about that, always talking about the doing things opposite, because we've been caught up in all of that other stuff, and I don't want to ever. I just want to make life easier for me and for everybody that I work with, and see them progress about it. So, and I've been in the ego as well. And even when I look at Right Marketing Copy, that when I started that only came to me because I was hired to write 7 sales letters, right? But that came back to, wait a second, and I don't know how many people know this, but I was pushing that thing away for so many weeks. Remember, I was telling you that story, like, for months. And the friend of mine who got me connected was like, you got to speak to this person. I'm like, no. And then when I went in there, it was with a little bit of ego to a degree, but it was more about, if I'm going to do this job, it's going to take me away from the thing that I'm actually doing, and I love to do coaching and all this stuff, then I want it my way, and that's it. And I went in there with that attitude or ego, but it was like, I got nothing to lose. It all worked out, but it could have failed miserably. But I didn't go in there with this really bad attitude, but there was still, look, here's how this is going to run. And if it's not going to run this way, I don't even want to touch it. So there's pros and cons to both that approach, right? And it worked out, but at the same time, it was based on, this is who I am, and this is why it's going to work this way. So, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out for us.
Okay, well, that's a good note to end it on, Joey. It's been a wonderful day spending it with you.
Yeah, it's been like that a whole day, right? But thank you, my friend. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the hearts and the likes and everything else. Love you all. Thank you for being here, for the support and all that great stuff. You guys are amazing. Oh, by the way, just before I go, I wanted to put up an invite to the Facebook group. We should have been doing that throughout that. But if you're watching this and you got to the end, if you want to join our Facebook group and you're not in there, please join us if you're heart-centered, especially if you're heart-centered, because there's some amazing people in there.
Remember.
Yeah, only heart-centered. You're right. Only heart-centered.
I was just quoting you, not me. You're right.
You're right. Thank you as always, Scott. See you next Tuesday.